And I need to get the handle off it, so I've gone ahead and I've cut it. As you can see here, there's quite a bit of epoxy in there, so I'm going to
Forstner bed, 1.5 inch in diameter, and drill a hole so that we can set the bottle down inside the wood.
Off the square corners, we'll take longer strokes. Notice here that my index finger is gliding along the tool rest to help control the depth of cut until we get to the depth that we've marked. To make sure that we've drilled the hole the right way. To sand the cove, I'm going to wrap the sandpaper around my finger so that the sandpaper is somewhat in the shape of the cove itself, so it's rotating very slowly. And we're going to take a Q-tip that we've dipped into some black leather dye. We'll go through the sequences of sandpaper like we will. Buff the finish a little bit with a nice clean dry cloth, and then we're ready to take it off the lathe and put the oil.
Wood that will receive the back face of the clock insert that's going to go inside. And we'll use the support of the tailstock all that we can while we're turning this.
We'll leave and work along the blank until we get most of the corners removed. And then we'll take longer strokes. And now we'll go to the shallow spindle gouge. And then we'll slide the tailstock out of the way. Notice here that I'm using the edge of the sandpaper to work up against the bead. We'll put a generous application on with the lathe stopped and rub it in good. And then you can hold the clock up against the rotating disc, and that completes our clock.
Start with a blank that's about 1 inch thick and 11 or 12 inches long, and we'll mount it
Done in making a doorstop. Really what we're going to do is we're just going to turn a finial on each end of the blank. A G shape, or in other words a gentle S curve. So here we have our 2 completed doorstops turned from one piece of wood.
just advance it in there nice and slow. Slowly work your way back. Remember, try to always turn downhill. Twist it around a bit so you can make sure you get a good fit. Ready to find the back end of the handle. This is with the 3/8 spindle gouge. It looks pretty good. Snug it down. Take a look at the grade match. And now we're ready to glue.
Also, as you take a look at a piece of wood turned around, you can see all of the different aspects of the wood.
Strokes with the spindle roughing gouge. You'll notice here that the tool handle is held low so that the shavings just peel off the wood as they contact the cutting edge, the cylinder. And then we'll take our outside calipers and we'll transfer shaping the left half of the sphere. We'll continue the same cutting motions that we used when we did the right half. And on this, you can see that the bevel is riding on the wood. Now that we've got the wood repositioned between our cup chucks, we can begin to put a light pressure on the bevel and also take a light cut. Sand the complete surface of the sphere before we move on to a finer grit. And so, the finish that I'm going to use here is an oil finish until I get the final finish that I'm after. And there's our final sphere.
And it can certainly work okay, but you'll put it on, but then you'll need to make a spacer here. Turning on a spindle. Take those corners off. Now we can start to do a little bit of shaping here. Get it within about 1/4 inch. Now when we're making our finishing cuts, we want to slow down a little bit, make sure we got the bevel riding. Right next to the bushing. Great little tool to get in there. Work it around, work into the bushings there. Move through the grits. Now, again, sand with the grain here, because we're going to use a buffing system to give it dense, hard-grained woods and exotics. A couple more passes on the Carnauba wheel, and we should be done. That looks pretty good. Let's take the second one, and we want to make a little bit of just have them in a V shape here. Again, being careful. This is kind of delicate. Go ahead and slide it into the wooden body of the egg. And then our viewing cap here, our lens cap. Tighten that down, and that's what's gonna screw everything together. It's gonna hold the wood nice and tight on everything. Tighten it best you can. Now we're ready to take a look through it, see what it looks like.